Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting of the Coos Bay Urban Renewal Agency to order. And our first item on the agenda is consideration to approve an improvement grant request for 1400 Ocean Boulevard, which is the Graham Auto Dealership out there. Nicole?
Yes, correct. So I'm going to start us out, but Mr. Graham is here, so if there are any questions specific to the project, he's offered to be available to answer any of those. Essentially, he's gone through the process, which requires a pre-application. We have some internal conversations about the project, and then if approved, we move forward with a full application. So what you have before you is that. He is looking for painting the entire main showroom building, the service and parts building, and replacing gutters and downspouts. Pretty self-explanatory, but if you did have some questions, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer them.
Okay. Did anyone have any questions?
Well, I do have a question about the adjacent lot.
Do you want to, sorry,
Could I
we have some folks online, if you, yeah.
I'm curious about the development plans there.
I may be happy to answer probably in another, unless the two are tied together in some way. But I'm happy to talk to you about
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah.
Yeah, I get lots of questions about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any
I can
other-
answer them now if you have if they're very simple, but
I think we're just curious about if you have a projected timeline or intentions for development on that lot.
Bobcat full-line franchise still. Getting Bobcat to come to Coos Bay from North Dakota has been difficult. And they, like any franchise, they decide the design aspects. And until they get here, they have a team that does the renderings. We have a few choices, but still intent on Bobcat.
Okay,
But there's $1 million worth of equipment stored inside doing nothing. So yeah, we definitely want it to take place.
All right.
Yeah.
Any questions with regard to the improvement grant, since Mr. Graham is at the podium? Anyone online?
Probably color is just standard. I don't choose the color, Dodge does. So kind of like Bobcat, there's factory decisions. It's a gray with a darker gray trim, so better than, I can't even describe the color now. Salmon
Kind of a
or
milkshake,
orange,
isn't it?
yeah, ugly, very ugly, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Anything else you'd like to share with us?
This one's pretty
Standard.
easy. Yeah, it's paint and gutters, yeah. Yeah, the color's just awful, so, yeah.
All right, how would the agency like to proceed?
I move to approve the improvement grant request as proposed for 50% of eligible expenses up to $13,584.70, subject to submittal of any required permits.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve the improvement grant request as proposed. It's 50% of eligible expenses up to $13,584.70, subject to required permits. And a second. All those in favor, or any discussion?
So this is going to come out of this is going to come out of the Empire Urban Renewal Agency fund?
Yes, and you'll maybe remember that in Empire, we have funds allocated in the budget. So you guys did $50,000 in fiscal '25. You did not do that for downtown because your focus was going to change from improvement to addressing some of the buildings that are empty in downtown and need some attention. So this is the first grant that's coming forward. There are no carryovers from previous year. Haven't really been used to much significance out in Empire. So first grant, you've got 50,000 there.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Any other?
I just appreciate the intention to upgrade the building and make it look nice, and
Yeah.
hopefully others will follow suit.
Sure. Did you want me to stay after? Did you have more questions? I'm
No,
happy to.
appreciate
Okay.
it. Thanks.
You can call too.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is consideration to approve a construction grant for the East Side Boat Ramp. Jennifer, are you taking that one?
That's me, thank you.
All right.
Okay, so on February 18th, 2024, the East Side boat launch was struck by the cargo vessel Odell Moore. that was being assisted by a local tugboat company. The collision was catastrophic to the boat launch structure and float system. The 3 piles that supported the floats were all damaged. 1 was completely removed and no longer visible above the water line, and the remaining 2 were leaning. While the accident occurred in February, staff could not move forward until an underwater inspection could occur, and that had to be approved by the city's insurance company. Furthermore, design could not commence until the engineer at Oregon State Marine Board also had that underwater inspection. So the authorization was received from CIS on May 13th. Staff contracted with Ballard Marine Construction to conduct the underwater inspection and survey of the piles. The inspection was conducted on May 16th, and the report was provided to staff the next day. The inspection found that the 2 remaining piles had been damaged beyond repair, and the pile that was missing could not be located underwater. The Oregon State Marine Board was provided the inspection and at once prepared plans and specs for the repair. The scope of work includes removing the 2 damaged piles, installing 3 new piles, and repairing and installing the existing floats. Staff received the plans and specs from Oregon State Marine Board on June 28th and prepared a bid package for advertisement. The project was advertised July 2nd with an anticipated bid opening date of this Thursday, July 18th. Staff has been coordinating with the following agencies for the past several months: the U.S. Coast Guard, OSMB, Army Corps of Engineers, Department of State Lands,
Recording in progress.
Department of Land Conservation, and the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. All regulatory approvals have been attained. Staff also coordinated with a local marine contractor and OSMB to prepare a cost estimate for this repair. The cost estimate is anticipated to be $225,000, which includes a 15% contingency. To be clear, that's just a planning budget that staff has prepared at this time. Staff is presenting this action to the agency so that they can consider authorizing an award of contract to repair the east side boat launch for an amount not to exceed $225,000. By approving this action, it will allow staff to immediately enter into a contract with the responsible low bidder and expedite the repair of the boat launch. Staff will present the results of the bid received to the agency at a later date. So it's staff understanding that the cost to repair the boat launch will be 100% reimbursed by the insurance companies. However, in the interim, staff is proposing to utilize the Downtown Urban Renewal Agency Fund 57 to cover the cost of the repair. Upon receipt of insurance proceeds, a supplemental budget will be done to accept and appropriate the funds. So at this time, we don't have a schedule for when the boat ramp will be fully repaired. But as soon as we get a contractor under contract, and we can get a schedule, and then we can pass that information on to yourselves and the public via all of our sources of social media and Friday Update.
Thank you. I appreciate that because I know that's been a big concern. We've probably all received phone calls on that because of the impacts of the other boat ramps in the area, and we have a fishing season coming up, so. All right. Any questions from the agency? I want to apologize. Our 2 agency members online were not able to hear on the first one, but you guys can hear us now?
Yeah, did we make a decision on the grant request for 1400 Ocean Boulevard?
Yes, that item was done.
And what was the decision that was made?
The motion carried to authorize to approve the funding for that. A counselor or agency member, Stevens, asked about the adjacent property, which Mr. Graham addressed, and that would be a Bobcat dealership. He's working with the franchise. They dictate the development plans for that, and the franchisee, they have to work with them. So he has a couple of options, but they are working that out, and his intentions are to continue with that development of the property.
So sorry, Stephanie, because I couldn't hear, I want to go back, and I know the decision has been made, and I just want a bit more clarification since I wasn't able to weigh in on that. If I remember correctly, did we not sell that piece of property to them? Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? I can't remember.
I think we're on the 3-year.
So the 3rd year with the commitment that there was going to be some sort of large equipment dealership on the property. And so what I think I'm hearing you say is today there is going to be a Bobcat dealership, but we still do not have an ETA on that. Is that correct?
Correct, because apparently the Bobcat organization has to send the people out. They have to work through that because they have the designs. And so he's working through that process with them, but they haven't been out at this point.
Okay. Had I been able to weigh in on the vote, I would have done it with great amounts of caution, only because we sold a piece of property to this person 3 years ago with the expectation that it would be developed. And now we're going to grant some dollars. And while I appreciate them asking for a facade improvement grant, I don't have a lot of confidence based on the fact that we did sell that property 3 years ago to them with the expectation that there would be development on it. Again, the decision has already been made, but I just want it out there on record, my opinion on the matter.
Okay, and I believe there is a timeline, and this is a reimbursement, if I understand how
Correct.
the work is not paid for, the grant is not, the authorization for the grant is one thing, but the grant is not paid out until the receipts are received by the city. So.
No, I understand that, Councillor Cribbins. It's more the optics, and that's what is concerning to me. If we were asked the question from citizens as to why we would do this when other items, it's more a matter of principle to me. But I do understand, and I appreciate the clarification.
And I just looked up the sale date for the property, and it was December 29th, 2022 when we received the proceeds, so not 3 years.
Could you come to the podium if you want to?
You can rescind you can do whatever you want. It's not the end of the world to me. The question I have, does one have anything to do with the other? Does one?
Go ahead and speak in the.
Are you asking a question?
They're two separate businesses, two separate names. Again, I don't want to offend the city or the councillor, but Bobcat is coming. I'm opening a full line in Roseburg and one here. I can't push Bobcat any faster, but I'm curious why slowing down the progress on one property would help the city in any way, or holding it up over the property next door. I'm just curious. So if you would rather rescind your vote, I'm okay. That's all right.
No,
I'm still
I
going to
think-
paint the building. I have to
think
paint the
that-
building.
I think Councilor DeNovo addressed that and said the decision has been made, and I'm not seeing anyone.
Oh, okay.
Stand
She
up.
sounded concerned, so it was.
No, she
support the
she wanted an
decision.
update on what was happening with the other. I believe that we got that. Maybe I
Yeah.
didn't.
And my phone line's always, anyone can call anytime. I'm happy to, yeah.
It just was, Mr. Graham, it just was that, when we sold the property, we expected it to be developed right away. That was
Yeah,
our
yeah.
understanding.
Yeah.
And that hadn't happened. And your explanation, they weren't online to hear your
Yeah,
explanation.
yeah.
So that's part of the issue here. They
Yeah.
didn't hear what you had explained, that Bobcat, you're waiting for them to come out, and you're held to their standard and development of that property until you get the approval because they have specs that need to be done. Am I correct?
Yes, I've worked, your team's great. To do renderings is $25,000 to $30,000 locally. Bobcat does that for me, but what I would do may not fit their design, and I'm tearing apart and doing it again and again. We have a big investment. I've been paying those payments since December 22. Taxes, which have gone to the urban renewal, and insurance. There's employees there. One of them's running for state representative. And again, I have over $1 million in cash tied up in equipment sitting inside. And I was asked to park it back inside a year ago, and I've parked it inside. It hasn't been on display, so it behooves me to get that equipment sold and serviced. So, yeah.
Yeah, so just so you understand our situation. So when we did that, the public asked us, okay, this was sold under the, understanding that it was going to be developed and whatever, and it hasn't. So
Sure.
we are hearing that from the public saying, what's the deal? You know, what's the situation? You know,
Yeah.
and so I'm glad we got an explanation,
Yeah.
and which we haven't had in the past. So
Yeah, yep. Thank you.
okay.
All right. So we took a little detour there again, but we do have a matter on the consideration to approve the construction contract for the east side boat ramp, which is the item that we were on. And how does the agency wish to proceed?
So I remember February 18th, and that was a really large boat. And I'm curious how we mitigate this in the future so that we aren't out an east side boat ramp every time a ship that size wants to come in.
You know, that is definitely a good question for the tugboat company, I think. Please weigh in.
We don't get
I don't know.
notification
Yeah.
that they're coming. I mean, obviously, they're not speeding in, so if someone sees them coming, we could certainly get there, but it doesn't touch the city until.
Yeah, and we can't,
Touches the city.
Yeah, I mean, that's a piece maybe we're talking with the folks who do that work. I mean,
I
yeah.
think they're going to be a bit more aware
Yeah.
after this, but we can't remove the piles once they're installed. I mean, that's a permanent, I mean, for all intents and purposes, that boat ramp is a permanent structure.
So it was their fault, right? So their insurance is paying into this also?
That's our understanding.
Yeah, I think the challenge came with the fact that we had tugboat operators and you have a large boat and which was driving and managing the turn. I think that's kind of where, and then there was some, I guess, question in whether the piles were truly damaged the further we got in, so underwater diving. There's just been a lot of pieces to the puzzle. You got 3 insurance companies.
Yeah.
Sitting at the table, that complicates things. Rightly so, this is gonna be a significant claim, so.
So we've had a lot of boats, or ships, excuse me, that's the improper term, but ships that have gone up and utilized that throughout the years without this being an issue.
large?
Yes. I
Okay.
mean, huge ships. And they all a lot of them went up to the GP site, unloaded for many years and without this issue. So I think it just was a judgment error that created it. It was unfortunate, just like one time, the North Bend Bridge got hit too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate that these things happen, so that's, anyway. So here we are, we're stuck in a situation that if I understand correctly, we're only gonna do partial of this dock, or this is not gonna be the full dock?
This is going to be the full.
It will be. I think right now, we're
But I
just
mean,
doing
the
the,
225,000 is for a partial. This is for the full thing.
All 9 floats and 3 piles.
but I could be wrong. I was thinking we were doing an interim, get 3 in the water right now.
That's already occurred. That's not what
Okay.
that's not what you're deciding tonight. Tonight is the full repair.
Okay, so this is the full repair for the full dock, the 9 pilings and the floats and the whole works.
The 9 floats and the 3 piles.
Okay, 9 floats and 3 pilings, okay.
Correct.
All
And
right.
by fishing season.
We
the
have
best
to
we
get
can.
the contractor under contract. Once we get them under contract, I believe we gave them, I will follow up for sure, but I believe we gave them a short timeline. I think it was 30 days.
Okay, so, and the total cost of this project is expected at 225? Okay, no, that's good, that's clarification, great.
And we
That's
have done a
better.
little bit already on the
Yep.
piece that was already installed. So there is some cost to that, getting those. Did we have on the 3 that we've already, didn't we put 3 in already? I maybe should just be quiet.
So there were 3 that were able to go back in the water.
Right, and cost associated with that. So when we're talking about this, plus any cost there, that's our claim.
Yes, but this right here is for the cost of the contract that we expect to award
Yes.
based on the
Agreed.
bid that's we're going to open on Thursday. Sorry if I'm not answering your question.
No, you're fine. I think they were trying to get
We-
to what's the total cost of the claim. Yeah.
We put the 3 floats back in
Correct.
and so that would have been handled not through a contract, that would have been.
So we're keeping all of the costs
Yeah.
associated with this claim. This is just one of them.
One piece of
Okay,
it.
but
That's
this
what I was
is-
trying to
This
do.
is the
Thank
second
you.
phase.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
this cost will complete the dock.
That is correct.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
And
that's
it
my
is a
misread.
pretty aggressive timeline to get that done so that does fit within the window, hopefully.
And our planning estimate assumed that, because whenever you decrease the amount of time in which a contractor has to do work, you're gonna pay a little bit escalated. But we, like you guys said, we have to get this in before fishing season, or at least do our very best.
And I completely skipped over public comments from the beginning. Scott, did you have something that you wanted to add on this item? Name and where you reside, sorry.
That's okay. Scott Frazier, Coos Bay. So I've been a resident for over 60 years. When I worked for Weyerhaeuser in the 80s, they used to turn the ships right in front of the Mill Casino. I don't know if it was a deeper dredge there or what was going on, but I used to watch them every evening, turning large ships there. I don't know why they chose to turn it around right by the boat ramp. I don't know, but I'm excited about the city fixing the ramp. Salmon season's coming. The parking lot has over 120 slips, and they're usually full for a couple months, and that's a lot of money coming into the community. And so I think you'll be reimbursed 5 times over, 10 times over for fixing the boat ramp, especially with the other ones in disarray right now. Good job. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. So, are there any other public comments on this item? All right. Then how would the agency like to proceed?
I move to approve the award of a construction contract to repair the East Side Boat launch for an amount not to exceed $225,000.
Second?
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second to award the construction contract for repair of the East Side Boat Launch for an amount not to exceed $225,000. And a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right, there being no further business to come before the agency, I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting